is that you're all here and we're here at Google. So thank you, Google, for giving us this space and this platform to really talk about AI in the classroom.
I taught for over 10 years, and there's a lot of AI technologies I wish I had when I was teaching. So I'm really curious to hear what our higher education specialists have to say about AI in the classroom in that way as well.
Great. Thank you. And Margo, you have some amazing STEM experience.
Yeah. So I'm more of an entrepreneurial type. So currently I work for a startup called Immersion. We're based in San Francisco. And we actually design virtual reality simulations to train teachers in the classroom. So we build virtual classrooms, and we're in schools all over the country. And now we've moved into corporate learning and development. So we've trained thousands of learners globally. And we focus mostly on using VR AI to develop social, emotional skills in people, which is sort of like the #1 area that corporations and schools are really looking for technology to fill that gap. And I'm also the founder of a school called the Los Angeles School of Creativity and Technology, which is so much fun. It's called CTech for short. And we work with kids in South LA. In particular, we started it because of some of the alarm statistics around computer science. I was at a code.org event and heard that out of 10,000 kids that took AP Computer Science in California, only 145 were Black and only 1,200 Latino. So we are focused on training kids in computer science from kindergarten through 12th grade, and we even want to open an adult school for parents. And so CTech, we sort of remix computer science, offering virtual reality, robotics, music engineering, and I forget the other thing, 3D art for kids to really build and create. And we run entrepreneurship events and Kid Shark Tank events so that kids can start their own companies. So
that's awesome, and so much needed.
This is awesome. Yeah.
And then representing the higher ed front, the whole higher ed front, we have Allison from UC, because we have a lot of different people from different backgrounds. So if we can all maybe take a turn on defining what AI is from your standpoint, because I'm sure like if we ask 5 people in the room, they will have 5 different definitions, and that might be okay. So let's start with you, Liz, since...
I see it generally as a systems ability.
Anybody else?
I'll take it. So when I think about AI, my friend told me it has the word artificial in it, artificial intelligence. So it's sort of like it's not as sophisticated yet as human intelligence, but I think of it as machines and a way for us to use machines to learn and to sort of improve and augment what humans can already do. So that's how I think of AI.
I'll build on that because I'm a fan of the modern definition of augmented intelligence.
Change at all?
I can speak to that because I was a teacher in a prior life, and before Immersion, I worked with entrepreneurs to design innovative schools, and quite frankly, for the most part, schools haven't changed that much. I mean, some private schools have in the way we deliver education, but for the most part, public education still looks the same as it did 150 years ago. And I think there's huge room for AI to not just automate the work of teachers or learning, but really a lot of the processes that happen in public schools that slow educators down. And so there's been a stagnation, I believe, for the last 100 years of tech in schools. And a lot of people in the ed tech space are working really hard to penetrate it. But there's still something there that's preventing from, I think, massive scale, massive use. But parents want it, students want it, teachers want it. Like they want more efficient ways to deliver learning and more ways to personalize the experience for kids.
And I think a lot of that is back to kind of what I do, providing that professional development. And without it just being the tech person. Who's the tech person in your school? I'm going to send them to you. That's not the person I want. I want the person who knows how to teach students. They went to school for it. They know what they're doing. I want to be able to facilitate that.
Degree now.
Exactly.
And I think there are a lot of degrees that are becoming obsolete. And there are people like you can log on to Coursera anywhere, anyone anywhere in the world can learn computer science from Harvard or MIT in an instant. And so I think actually higher ed should be nervous because there are a lot of technologies out there that completely disrupt the game, and industries looking for people with skills. I mean, because even Google, Facebook, there's an article out now, they're hiring people that don't have a bachelor's degree but can demonstrate competencies in certain areas. So I think higher ed is going to be disrupted by AI and technologies. And we at Immersion, we work with 60 universities, ed schools, which I think it's a bright shining star because we're using our VR simulations to train and do PD in a different way. So now we can scale PD and make it look totally different. And it's so transformative to see someone interacting with an avatar, like kid avatars, and actually that experience of them learning how to be a teacher and us observing them learning how to be a teacher is very transformative. So I think there are technologies that can actually disrupt higher ed and what it looks now. So a lot of our institutions, I think, need to catch up.
Absolutely. And I think the value of micro-credentialing and certifications, it's kind of like, it's another topic that we can spend a whole other hour on.
Yes.
But I want to kind of like...
I've been in urban classrooms where I've seen schools say, oh, we have this new personalized learning tool. And sometimes you walk in and all the kids are on the computer all day, which I consider to be a disaster. I don't think that's how real learning should happen. So I think if it's implemented the wrong way, it could be awful because you see kids copying and pasting on these learning tools. And we all know as humans, real learning happens when you're solving the problem, being creative, and the tech is to help augment that or accelerate the learning for the students and it should not replace a teacher ever, I believe. It should not replace the human being that is going to lead the kids towards something greater.
Right.
So that's where I've seen some of the bad uses of tech.
AR should be the facilitator. I mean, letting that teacher finally be the
Exactly.
facilitator, taking some of the load and the weight off of that she has with the paperwork and everything else, and just finally getting to step back and ask those questions that she wants to be able to ask, but doesn't always have the time, and that's where we want it to be. She's still an important part of that picture.
Yes, at the same time, she has to be very careful and not take everything the tool is telling her about that student.
Absolutely.
Let's
at
talk a
face
little bit
value.
about this because...
Thinking about that. So, of course, the McKinsey report, 40% of jobs will be automated in the next 20 years. A lot of the communities we work with, they're already seeing it. So, I mean, the other day I was in Whole Foods, there was a robot scanning the aisle. I was in LAX and there was a robot working in LAX. And so this is just the beginning. There will be autonomous vehicles coming, and going back to the equity issue, the most vulnerable communities are going to be those right now with low-wage workers in retail. A lot of those jobs will be automated. Driverless cars, truck drivers, that's going to be scratched out. And really, it's the creative industries that's going to see the greatest growth. So really, creativity, social emotional intelligence is really going to be what's valued in the marketplace, I believe, because we're going to automate. But it's a global race now. So I was at an AI in the Future of Work conference at MIT 2 years ago, and it was the head of AI of China was there, talking about how they're educating all of their students in computer science, and they're in a global AI race. So now we're competing globally with talent. And so I think it's going to be, once again, for the most vulnerable populations, just a hard situation. I don't think we've thought about it policy-wise yet. But I do think college is still going to be important. It's going to be different. Like the role of college will be different. It won't just be, I'm teaching you how to be a lawyer. Lawyers' jobs are being automated. So I think it's a bright future. I think we'll have to shift very quickly what we see as work. But I just don't think a lot of our institutions our education institutions, and society is shifting quickly enough.
Right.
Yeah.
I would really like to think that teachers and intellectuals, professors are more secure in their future than in industries like retail and manufacturing, because those usually have limitless opportunities for automation, whereas in treatments without actually harming, without the risk-benefit analysis.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that's a great point.
So actually, we get a lot of our wild ideas from the kids. So at CTech, we run a Kids Shark Tank startup lab for kids. They're 8 to 14. And so we had a couple of teams, and they wanted to redesign school. So one group had an idea for a robot teacher, because they felt their teacher didn't respond quick enough to their issues, even some of their social emotional issues. So they wanted a robot to roll around the classroom.
Check on the well-being of
check
the
on the
classroom.
well-being.
That's
And they
amazing.
created a product and actually a prototype and wanted to do this. And a lot of what we're seeing, another team of kids, bullying is a huge issue. So one student wanted to create sort of like a guardian angel drone, where the drone would follow her from school and the data would feed to the iPhone app or whatever.
Wow.
And moms and teachers would see it. And there was data, she was 12, data flowing. And so we get excited about this, and we try to fund their ideas. They are who we should be asking, what is AI? And they didn't know what AI is.
Yeah.
They just knew that they wanted a robot teacher because their current teacher was too busy, and they wanted someone to talk to.
There you go.
And they're cool with a robot being in the classroom.
Yes.
And so that's where we get all our fun ideas, and we fund them to do this and prototype them. And
That's
so
amazing.
I see that's the future.
Yeah.
If we ask the young people.
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
whenever people talk about the future, there's sometimes this way to talk about it like it's predetermined. And I think the thing is the decisions that all of us are making, whatever brought you here tonight, wherever we're sitting up here, to know that the decisions that we're making tonight and tomorrow and who we are asking to find the solutions is going to determine what this looks like 10, 20 years down the road. It's what's going to change the future of it. And hopefully if we have people asking the right people and the right questions, then that's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. We all have a role.
Yeah, along the lines of what panelists have said, I think that